Please forgive the hair. Shalom. So I just got an unction on me to make a short video. For the love of God, Christians, do not celebrate Christmas. Don't. Some revelation that's coming to me in the last 30 minutes. It's reminding me that last year, very strong, he told me that this was the last Christmas of 2023. That was the message. This is the last Christmas. And part of the meaning of that is this is the last Christmas that he is having mercy. And to give you some detail, I met a sister who I'm doing ministry with. We'll call her N right now. She had her own women's ministry, and she got a very similar message before we had even met and really talked about any of this. And she's a prophet of the Lord as well. She warned the women of this message, do not partake. Part of my testimony is that I was woken up the week before Christmas, and that was one of the first things he showed me was to not celebrate Christmas anymore. And I've met many people with similar testimony, but 2023, the Christmas of 2023, he was telling me this is the last one. And she was warning the women in her ministry about this, and at least 4 of the women did not heed this and fell to temptation and stuff, and every single one of them committed adultery or fornication, and one or the other or both, and it led to a complete falling away for a lot of these women, and some of them have a judgment of death upon them. One of them is going to be trafficked, so it's pretty bad. I was at a time of weakness. I might go into testimony of that one day, but a neighbor, typically when, in the past when a family had given me Christmas cookies and stuff like that, I threw it in the trash immediately. We had a neighbor who, they had a tradition with a few of the neighbors in Chandler, where I was living in Phoenix, Arizona. She brought over I forgot what they call this, but it's like a holiday cake. And I can't remember what it's called. Anyways, so normally I just throw it right away. This time I put it in the fridge. It was sitting on the counter, and I put it in the fridge until we figured out what to do. It's should have thrown it away. Well, temptation. Eventually, I was having I was using food to cope, and I was really struggling with quitting. I knew I had to quit sugar. I was struggling with it. So normally I had fruits and stuff. Well, this time I didn't have anything to snack on. So I gave in to temptation, and I ate a little bit of that cake, and then literally 6 hours later, so this was at night, early in the morning, I was woken up with a strong pain in my lower abdomen, and it built and built and built. It was so bad I was moaning. I have never been in so much pain that I was moaning. It startled my mom. She woke up, and we did an emergency call to people we knew that I was doing ministry with at the time, and other people. And they were praying for me, and it was doing nothing. And I was trying to, because of the evils of the pharmaceutical industry, I did not want to go to the hospital. After everything that happened the past few years, I did not want to go to the hospital. And the pain got so bad that I relented. I was like, I can't fight against this. It's too much pain. I prayed. I didn't fully understand what was going on. And so my mom took me down we were, luckily enough, we were right nearby a hospital, so it didn't take long. And I was like, man, this is going to suck. An emergency room, it takes hours. I've been there before. I've taken people there before. It takes hours. Completely empty. There was one person sitting out there. We got right up to the thing. Weirdly enough, they asked me if I had ever had I was in so much pain, Mom had to help me. I had to get into one of the wheelchairs they have. And they asked me if I had the COVID vaccine or not. I said, nope. And I don't know why they asked that, but they rushed me. They opened the door immediately and rushed me right back in there and got me on a bed. Normally you're having to wait for all that. I had to wait in the bed. I don't remember how long. I was in so much pain I didn't care. I was trying to move around and trying to get comfortable. And I was just calling out to the Father on the bed. I was asking for mercy, because the pain was brutal. I'd never experienced pain like this ever my entire life. And it just was strong at that point. You just couldn't be comfortable. Sitting still, moving, it didn't matter. I was in so much pain, I was squirming around it was, you know what I mean? If you've ever experienced that kind of pain, you'll know what I'm talking about. Eventually a nurse came by to asked questions, and then I think she put me on an IV. And Mom was really defending me because she knew they might try to vaccinate and do stuff. And she was watching them like a hawk. It was the Holy Spirit was using her to really watch out. These people aren't trustworthy. So eventually, the lady got me in a wheelchair and took me over to give me some morphine. And I can't remember how long it took. It kicked in. I really didn't want to have to get to this point, but I was so desperate for the pain to go away. I was like, I don't know what to do, Lord. I'm like losing my mind. It was so painful. Put me on a morphine drip, not much. And within moments, the pain started to go away. And I was thanking God. I was like, that was horrifyingly painful. And I can't remember when I got the Spirit ministered to me and showed me that this had happened. Oh, no, it was when we found out what it was. They did a scan, everything. They were suspecting a kidney stone. There's only a couple things it could have been. So they went and did a scan and confirmed it was a kidney stone. And that's when I knew. I already knew that I had a sugar problem. I knew the Spirit had been ministering me, trying to get me to stop eating sugar. And this was partly why, is because I was led into temptation to partake of a holiday gift, especially from a wicked neighbor. And that is what overdid it. It was that spiritual partaking of that. Like the sugar is just a simple thing in the physical, but it was the spiritual taking part of that. And I knew that's why I got the kidney stone. And that it was a warning from God. And so when I later heard about these women in Sister N's ministry that fell into fornication, and I was like, oh, he wasn't kidding when he said this last. So this is the mercy he bestows upon those that are toying around with the pagan holiday. What's going to happen to people in 2024 when they partake of it after those warnings and after everything, especially all the World War III and the financial woes and everything that's on the line, and people are still going into debt to partake of a pagan holiday that has nothing to do with Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. They just sticker slapped his name on there. When God is saying, enough is enough, I'm showing up to proclaim my name to the nations once more, which he's going to do in the style that he did to Egypt, which is pouring out plagues and destruction, right? Showing the truth, making the truth distinct and his people distinct over the nations and over lies, right? And over false gods. So the point being is, do not in any way, shape, or form, whether you know what I'm talking about or not, if you see this message, you better have a fear and trembling of the Lord, because he is resoundingly saying, do not celebrate me as the heathen do. I will make an example out of you. I am not tolerating anymore. He said, what does the scripture say? Where he winks, right? For a time, I think it was one of the apostles was saying, for a time, right, he winked at your ignorance. I think it was Paul speaking to the Gentiles, might be when he was speaking at Mars Hill. It's like for a time he's winked at your ignorance, but now, right, God is calling to all men through Yeshua, through Jesus, right? The true light is coming to the world, right? And now there's no excuse for worshiping darkness, worshiping devils, right? For idols, any of it. There's no excuse. And so Christmas is not Christian. And if you are still going to go along with it, then you are following men and traditions of men, and you're worshiping devils. You know not what you worship. God is revealing the truth. He's been revealing it for years. You have absolutely no excuse whatsoever to be partaking of this pagan holiday anymore. And if you do, I'm not saying you have to go do the Hebrew feasts, right? Not yet. Let God lead you into that. But I'm saying do not partake of something that has nothing to do with Yeshua. It has absolutely nothing to do with him. He will destroy you. He will curse you. He will plague you. It is gonna happen. You're gonna see it. People are gonna be thinking peace, peace, right? With this time, right? Like, what do they call that? I can't remember. Anyway, some silly thing, right? Where they say peace to all men on earth. Sorry, I'm butchering it. In this time of season, right? The spirit of Christmas, the spirit of peace, the spirit of Christ, and all this stuff. Nope. He's going to show it's going to be war, right? Because that's what it shows in Revelation, right? And the first coming of Yeshua, it was bringing peace, right? It was peace to the nations, peace to his people, right? And they were looking for war. Now this time, Messiah is bringing war, and they're looking for peace. You're not going to get it. You're going to get World War III. Go read Revelation 9, and now look at the things that are coming to pass. Look at how people have ignored the vaccines and all that stuff that went on. And guess what? Now you're going to get the consequences of it. Now they're going to play out, and it's going to be obvious for those that have eyes to see and ears to hear. And not only that, false worshipers are going to be dealt with. That's what you see. Go read all of Revelation 9, and you'll see it. That's about to come to pass. Those fifth and those sixth trumpets blowing. It's going to be absolutely brutal, the loss of life. You have Trump and them saying, right, peace and safety, not going to happen. He's saying he's going to bring peace to the Middle East. Like he'll end the conflict in Russia and Ukraine. It's not going to happen because Christ has prophesied it's going to be war. And so he is proclaiming war over the nations. And that's not just talking about the nations of, right, those geographical places. It's talking about people that are aligned spiritually, right? They're spiritually aligned with those nations over Messiah. And there are Christians there's people calling themselves Christians, believers in Messiah, that aren't. They're actually still part of the nations. They have not been grafted in, or they have dried up and been cut off. So where else do they have to go but back to the nation that they, right? Like the Moabite woman, right? That was, I can't remember her name, the one of the daughters of I'm forgetting her name in the book of Ruth, right? When they were going back, Naomi, when they were going back to Bethlehem, right? The Naomi and her two daughters-in-law, right? And the one daughter decided to go back, right? And that's basically what's happened. It's same thing with the Hebrews, right? That wanted to, you look at Numbers 14, the Hebrews that wanted to stone Joshua and Caleb, right? They wanted to deal with Moses, Aaron, Joshua, and Caleb, and they wanted to set up a new captain, a new leader, and to take them back to Egypt. It's all the same thing. It's the people that were on their way out and right out of bondage and into being grafted in, right? They weren't grafted in yet fully, and there's a process of sanctification, all that, fully coming into covenant, right? Like the preparation of Esther, it took time. It's the same thing with the bride. There's a time, there's a preparation before you actually become the bride. A lot of people have presumptuously said, we're already the bride, and it's like, really? Have you walked out your sanctification? Paul says that we're in the process of being saved, right? Those that are actually his, yeah, no man can pluck them out of his hand, but there's a process to walk out, and you have to obediently walk out that sanctification, which takes patient endurance through afflictions and trials. And there are people who said, I'm not going to do that. You don't know. I'm not worthy of affliction, right? I'm above that. It's privileged children. And so they've despised the chastening like Esau, and so now they're going to be cut off like Esau. It says, Esau I hated, Jacob I loved. So the ones that were their story played out like Jacob, he loves them, they will be the bride. Right? And this revelation is the end times of the first leading up to the second coming of Messiah is a love note to the bride of Israel. And I'm talking about blood Israelites that are grafted into Messiah. He's calling out to them, right? First coming Israel, right? Blood Israel rejected the Messiah, and so the light went out to the Gentiles, so that the Israelites will become jealous and they would eventually be grafted in. That happened in parts and waves through time since the first coming, since the resurrection. But now it's going to come to a serious fulfillment for all of Israel that are blood descendants that have been scattered to the four corners of the earth. He's been waking them up for the past 7 years. There was a sign that happened in Revelation, the Revelation 12 sign of the woman, the first two verses. That happened in September 23rd, 2017, okay? That was a sign to those people, right? To the 144,000, that was a sign to the rest. That was a calling of him saying, getting them drawn to Revelation, right? Those that have eyes to see and ears to hear, as he said, not all can discern what's being written in Revelation and when it's playing out. It's only going to be those people, right? When he's unsealing, he's revealing, he's opening the book, so to speak, or opening wisdom, knowledge, discernment, understanding that is in this book, right? That's been hidden away. It's been sealed, like it said to, he said to Daniel, right? Seal up the sayings of the prophecy of this book, right? Hold on. Or, no, seal not. He said that to John, sorry, but to Daniel, let me go flip to that. I'm doing it one-handed, sorry. Give me a second. Sorry, this Bible, this NLT Bible I have, it's hard to flip, especially one-handed. The pages are pretty thin. So Daniel 12, which is also like a mirror chapter to Revelation 12. let's see. Blah, 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 blah. All right. At that time, Michael the archangel, who stands guard over your nation, will arise. Then there will be, which has happened already, recently. Then there will be a time of anguish greater than any since nations first came into existence. But at that time, every one of your people whose name is written in the book will be rescued. Many of those whose bodies lie dead and buried will rise up, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting disgrace. Those who are wise will shine as bright as the sky, and those who lead many to righteousness will shine like the stars forever. But you, Daniel, keep this prophecy a secret. Seal up this book until the time of the end, when many will rush here and there, and knowledge will increase. Right? And that's been happening, especially the last 7 years. So a little over 7 years now since that sign. Obviously, we're in December. This is being filmed December 13th, 2024 in the evening. So, these words of the end times are being unsealed bit by bit, like those 7 seals are being unsealed at proper times by Messiah, and then that information is being downloaded to especially people like the 144,000, right? Those people, it's being downloaded to them, and the information is disseminating from there. You can also see, well, right, then right afterwards it talks about the man dressed in linen who was standing above the river raised both his hands toward heaven and took a solemn oath by the one who lives forever, saying, it will go on for a time, times, and half a time. And the shattering of the holy people has finally come to an end. All these things will have happened. Blah, blah, blah. But it also talks about, right, these 2 men on the other side of the river. There's one above, and then there's one man on each side. And this is symbolic of, right, the river of life that flows from the throne of God, And then you have the 2 men, which are likened to they're symbolic of the 2 golden lampstands that sit on either side of the branch in the middle, right? The branch being Messiah. And then you have the 2 olive branches that are on each side. And it says that they pour the golden oil out of them. Well, then you get in Revelation where it talks about 2 witnesses, right? So I'm not going to go too deep into this, but you see how these, like the book of Daniel, like the prophets link right from the Old Testament, link right to Revelation. And so if you don't have the Holy Spirit and you're not being revealed these connections, you're not going to understand what Revelation's talking about. And so hopefully that's making sense for those with eyes to hear, the point is he's been revealing things like Christmas. Modern Christianity is descended from paganism. The Roman Catholic Church and Constantine, these characters, they to bring a more perfect union with their peoples and their state, right? The kind of state they were creating, they grafted religion and state together, and they created their own version of Christianity to integrate the pagans and the Christians together. And it created an abomination, exactly what he warned his people of not doing in the Torah. And so the Gentiles did that, and people have been playing around with it for 1,500+ years, and now it's coming to the culmination at the end of the time of the Gentiles has been fulfilled. It's over. The Gentiles have had their reign. It's over. Now the message is going out to Israel, and the Gentiles are rejecting, right? The Christians, they're Gentiles, most of them. They are rejecting the message that Messiah is bringing. Is war, not peace. Get right with me before I get here, as I come in the thief of the night, for you will be deemed a hypocrite, and you will be cast out. You will be cast out in outer darkness, or you will go to the lake of fire. So many of them aren't listening. I talk to people about Yeshua, and they shut down the conversation. It doesn't even matter if they're not even a Christian. They're shut down. I tried to share a couple verses out of Psalm 37 to calm a guy down who was going off about the rich and the insurance story that was up, that guy that got assassinated and all that nonsense. And he was just going off. He was just wigging out in the middle of Whole Foods, right behind me, over my right shoulder this morning. And I was trying to show him a couple verses, like, fret not thyself because of evildoers, right? It's perfect scripture. And he said, no. And I said, okay. Ironically enough, I've been prophesying to him about this earlier. He agreed, and then it came to the moment to basically reprove him for his being in trouble. And he said, nah, I'm good. He acted like I pulled a gun out on him, and I'm like, okay, I'm not reading it to you. I'm done talking to you. You don't want to talk about God, and there's no reason for me to talk to you anymore. So you've rejected the gospel right there. And it was just Psalm 37. We weren't even talking about Jesus. So, okay, well, I know not to talk to you, so that's fine. It's peace. I'm not going to chase you down. Just don't chase me down. Just leave me alone. So whether they're unbelievers, Muslim, doesn't matter. Christian especially, they all shut up when I speak. They just shut the conversation down. They run away in the spirit. They run away physically. They'll tell, I'm good, I don't want to talk. They act as if like there's a security guard who acted like I pulled a gun out on him. I said the name of Jesus, and he's like, and I was like, well, it's because you had wicked intention toward me, and then I used the name of the Lord, and you got rebuked in the spirit, and he backed off because he was trying to look for a reason to kick me out of the library, and God said no. So that's how wicked, right? You go look at Revelation 9, it talks about that the 4 angels get loosed out of the river Euphrates to kill 1/3 of men, right? And it talks about their army being 200 million. That's not physical, guys. It's not China. It's not 200 million Chinese running amok. That's spiritual. It's a spiritual army led by spiritual generals, angels that are generals over these armies, and they go out destroying 1/3 of men, right? And okay, well, if they're doing that spiritually, then there has to be a physical representation that causes the physical death. And that will be that World War III scenario. It's right there. So you see how I read Revelation 9 is Abaddon. Okay, there's an angel, right, over those locusts that go out and sting the men, and they wish that they die, right, tormented 5 months. Okay, well, what did Donald Trump do in 2020? I can't say it on here. It will get the video taken down. Who did he say he was? What did he say he was the father of? What did he take credit for? What did he say saved 100 million lives? Right? Operation Warp Speed. So, okay, there's the consequences of that playing out. People just like tried to sweep that under the rug and pretend that none of that ever happened and tried to blame Joe Biden and this, that, the other thing. There's the consequences playing out for that little act he did back in 2020 that has been playing out since then. And then that's the 5th trumpet. Then you go to the 6th trumpet. There's your World War III. Everybody feels the dread. Everybody feels this death lingering, right? Massive amount of death. It's coming. And that's what I was getting. And it's all tied. It's starting around Christmas. You told them, don't do it. Didn't listen. It's going to happen. So, find out whether my word is true or not. But, so the scriptures being all of Revelation 9, Numbers 14, also it's a scorpion thing too, right? So it's talked about the sting of scorpion and the 5th trumpet. There's an interesting thing going on in the stars. And no, this isn't astrology, it's astronomy. It's like there's a Hebrew understanding to each and every one of the 12 zodiacal signs. And the heavenly bodies, the moving heavenly bodies, people call them planets. I'll do a teaching on that sometime, but isn't it interesting that we have a Greco-Roman understanding of the stars that's basically popular, and before that it was an Arabic understanding, yet it's really hard to find a Hebrew understanding. Well, it's been concealed. It's just, how come the Bible is like the most popular book, right? And many people are of the Abrahamic faith on this earth right now, and yet we don't have a Hebraic understanding that's easily accessible of the stars. You think that'd be pretty important? Well, it is. So, anyways, I say that because if you look at the book of Revelation, right, it says a wonder in heaven, right? It talks about 2 wonders in heaven in Revelation 12, right? It says that he likens the 7 churches to the 7 stars, and right, and that's talking about the 7-star cluster of the Pleiades, which is in the constellation of Taurus, right? 7 sisters, 7 angels, 7 churches. So there's a lot of star language in the book of Revelation, right? So one day I'll get into that. That's partly why I bring that stuff up. So there's a correlation between the two, right? Knowest thou the ordinances of heaven? Canst thou set dominion thereof in the earth? Something like that in the King James. That's in the book of Job. There's hints all over the Bible, right? It says that he made the stars for signs, seasons, days, and years in Genesis. So you look at the Hebrew, it confirms that about signs. So signs and wonders, and he's been doing them in the heavens, especially for the last 10 or so years, leading up to this point. And there's going to be more coming. So one of these days I'll be putting stuff like that out so you guys can see what I'm talking about and then go test it. So do not, under any circumstances, allow yourself to be tempted in any way to celebrate Christmas. Don't eat any cake that's given to you. Don't take any gifts or throw them away. Do not hold on to them. Do not keep them. Doesn't matter if it's something you could use. It's temptation. Don't pay absolutely no attention to it. Take no part in it. at all. I'm telling you people, please test this word, pray to God, see if I'm just some antichrist or whatever it is, right? Don't take my word for it, take his word for it, and he will back it up strong, because he does not want to have to judge people. He does not want to have to plague and destroy them, and he will. A lot of people are about to get sick and die that are calling themselves Christians. He's going to make it evident. He's going to back up that word, and it's not the devil doing it, it's God doing it. He's judging his people. That's where it says judgment starts with the house of God, and then it works its way down to the world, and that's what you're seeing in Revelation 9, right? It's a big part of it. It starts at the house of God, and then it works its way to the world, and it talks about that 1/3 of men being killed. So signs are all there in the physical realm. You can see it, and if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, you'll look to the heavens and see, oop, those are the ordinances of heaven. Well, it's not long before they play out on the earth, and he's about to do those in a big way. So anyways, hope and pray it's edifying. Yah bless you all. Lord Yeshua Mashiach's holy blessed mighty name, I pray, please test this word, test it, and if you find it true, listen to it and defend who you can, your children, whoever it is that you have authority over, right? Whatever words you can give out, understand that they have their free will choice to make, but you have heard the message and you have to obey and do what you can to help others be obedient. But their fate is not in your hands, right? You're just supposed to be a watchman. Tell them the sword is on the land and it's over the Christians strong right now and the rest of the world. But first it's going to start with the Christians, and then it's going to make its way down. So just be that watchman, warn, and then get out of the way when God judges whoever he's going to judge. Just check out, see, like I said, Numbers 14. Anyways, God have mercy on us all.